Okay, well, next we're going to transition to Miss Kendra Bonham at Bottenfield Elementary School. And I'll let her go ahead and introduce all of her people and get started.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Kendra Bonham. I'm the principal at Bottenfield Elementary School. Tonight, I have with me Renee Westfield, our assistant principal, Allison Carter, our equity chair, Jody Kirby, our chair for student learning and engagement, and Kristen Macklin, our culture and climate chair. I feel like this is too high. Thank you all for having us. Oh. So at Bottenfield, our school improvement leadership team is focused on three things: equity, student learning and engagement, and culture and climate. Our equity team is committed to improving student outcomes and ensure access to equitable resources and experience to every student in every space in Bottenfield. Our student learning and engagement team is committed to improving student outcomes by identifying and implementing AVID high-yield strategies that support our learning focus. Our culture and climate team is committed to improving students' sense of belonging by identifying areas within panorama data where students need support. This year, elementary schools have been working with Dr. Taylor and Focus Schools to kind of narrow down our targeted learning focus. So with the help of Dr. Taylor, my wonderful team, and my wonderful staff, we have narrowed ours down to Bottenfield scholars are able to fluently speak, read, and write, as well as use and understand numbers to communicate and comprehend information.
Hi, I am up for, do we have the data? Okay. So our summative designation was commendable. Our IAR state data, we exceeded the state targets in ELA and math for all students. We do have an opportunity gap between our black and white students, but I don't want to leave that out there. I just want you all to know that we are committed to working tirelessly and unapologetically to close that opportunity gap. We're not taking any prisoners with this year. Our panorama data, 76% of our students responded favorably to student-teacher relationships, and 77% of our students feel that they're able to self-manage. For accountability, we have our administrators, so myself and Ms. Bonham, we do the foundational skills walkthroughs, and our AVID site coordinators that are also back there are doing our AVID strategy walkthroughs just so that we can ensure that we're about what we say we're about. We've streamlined our RTI process. That's one of the things that we're doing to ensure that we're closing our opportunity gap. Our grade level tier 1 B's time, or our intervention block, is aligned to our targeted learning focus. And we have our AVID professional development for all of our staff. Everybody gets it. TAs, secretaries, everybody got it. So, Larry.
Hi, I'm Allison Carter. I'm the equity chair at Bottenfield. And so our team this year has been doing a lot of great things. So one of the things we're most proud about is by providing our professional development. So we've touched on topics of implicit bias, specifically racially implicit bias and microaggressions. We've talked on adultification of minority students. We've looked over the blind spot bias, and we've examined and done some things for our own classrooms. So we've been examining internal systems and structures to ensure that we're having equitable practices and outcomes in all of the spaces and places in Bottenfield. We also are creating opportunities for equitable experiences and community engagement for our students and families as a way to help close the opportunity gap. The picture up here is actually from our Bottenfield's back to school night, where we were able to meet the teacher, students were able to meet their teacher, learn about AVID if they're new, and then pick out some books, take home some math manipulatives, so lots of things for family. Our next step for equity is to continue to plan and host our community family events and to continue to ensure equitable educational experiences for every student. Our team members are listed at the bottom. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'm Jody Kirby. I'm the chair of the Student Learning and Engagement team. All of our fabulous team members as well are located at the bottom of the slide. We're focused on targeting high-yield instructional strategies within AVID that support our students' learning throughout the day. You can see in the picture, that's one of our kindergarten teachers, and he's doing an inquiry project about if a watermelon will sink or float, for example. We are working to expand our knowledge of different cultures to incorporate within our classroom communities and also within our instructional practices. Ms. Westfield touched upon this, but as something that we want to continue to focus on are those foundational skills. It provides a very level playing field when students are all proficient and have mastered that. So our administration is doing walkthroughs during the ELA block to help inform our next steps with that. In addition, we're identifying areas of professional growth for our staff that align with our above targets. Our next step is to focus on AVID Wicker strategies to help students school-wide succeed in mastering both academic and personal goals. Thanks.
Hello, I am Kristen Macklin. I am, excuse me, the Chair of Culture and Climate. This year, our committee has really focused on the Bottenfield school-wide expectations to make sure all of our students are performing at that high standard that we have for them. We have started back again since COVID, some school-wide assemblies, and in the picture, the big picture on the screen, you have our infamous Dr. Boozer, which is why my son really recognized her coming in for one of our assemblies on the back of a scooter. So it was definitely one to remember. And we're also analyzing panorama data to determine what our school-wide focus needs to be to support students, and then ensuring the strategies are in place to be able to do that. We also wanted to make sure that all of our kids were taking that survey in the same way in order to ensure the validity of the results that we were getting back. So the survey that we took in the winter, we set some standards for how we were giving that survey so that it can be the same across the board. Our next step is to focus on our targeted learning goal and how the Culture and Climate Committee can support that goal and celebrate the achievements and growth within that focus. And again, our team members are on the bottom of this slide as well.
I'm back. I'm also the AVID co-site coordinator along with Kristen Macklin. So our family and community engagement, AVID is one of the avenues that we have for our family and community engagement. And so AVID, I was assuming like, AVID would be something I need to explain, but you guys don't need me to explain that. So our site team has been working on a collective why for our team to really drive what we're doing and to be all on the same page. So our collective why that we're on a rough draft of is that AVID provides a framework for building culture that promotes self-efficacy, organizational skills, goal setting, and rigor. As a community, Bottenfield students are accountable and advocates for their own education in order to prepare them to be productive global citizens. We are really working on providing AVID professional learning modules to our site team so that those members can then be model spaces for other staff members to come in and see what high yield AVID strategies really look like in practice. And so we're providing that professional development to them. We also are really working on our AVID family night. It was a huge success. It continues to be a huge success in May. And so our next steps for AVID is to build the professional learning modules for the site team to continue to expand our capacity. We're going to also use our site team meetings to dig deeper into the trainings and to ensure all of those members are model AVID teachers. I think that's it.
Before I say thank you, any questions? Dr. Taylor gives us the eye.
Any questions? I just have one. Thank you for recognizing the adultification of our Black students and how it is happening across the nation. And I also appreciate you including the TAs in your AVID training, because you can, especially our TAs, they are a lot hands-on with our students, that they can either infantilize or they can do adultification. And somewhere in the middle is just making the child whole and learning those tools. So thank you for growing that beyond to all the staff. it's going to have a huge impact, because how does it translate back to the classroom is always my question. When you do professional development, how does it translate meaningfully back into the classroom? And it sounds like you're doing that. Thank you. Heather?
Thank you all so very much. If you have a photograph of Sheila on a scooter, it feels like there should be a video, and
We
I've
do
not
have
seen
video.
that. I just feel like it's the kind of thing you might want to send us.
Okay.
Hey, now.
She has
If
the
you
video, too.
do, send me speaking also to the students about the importance of AVID and self-control and why we're at school and belonging.
And the thing is, she didn't even know that we were going to ask her to ride the scooter until she got there. She had on a dress, and she's like, you know what? Yep, I'll do it. So our kids loved it.
Awesome. Any other questions? Elizabeth?
All right, so I'm going to start off by saying, I'm going to start with a statement, and then I'm going to ask my question, and so that you can prepare, it's the exact same question that I asked Central. My kids go to Bottenfield. We all know that by now. And my oldest is in 5th grade. And since my oldest started at Bottenfield, you are the 3rd principal. I have watched and experienced and felt at a very personal level this shift at Bottenfield. And I want to acknowledge how hard it is to change a culture, to change a school. And I also know that's personally, not me, but for you all, very, very hard. So I want to thank you, and I deeply appreciate what you have done and what you have sacrificed. Yeah, thank you. You all love your students, and you're very child-centric, so thank you.
And I put in a shameless plug and say, Ms. Bonham was the first principal I hired when I got here.
You made an excellent choice.
And I will tell you, Elizabeth, I hated her leaving Centennial. I was so worried, but you're perfect.
Yes. And so with that, my question, for anybody who wants to answer it, what has been a striking lesson, something humbling, something big, something funny that you have learned in this change?
So for me, I always knew with my career I would end up back in elementary school. I didn't know where. I taught 4th grade, then I left and went to Centennial. I was there for 7 years. So for me, it's humbling to be back with small children. Even when I was at Centennial, I told everybody, kids are kids. Some big, some small, they're all kids. So for me, it's just the joy of being back and having a wonderful team and a wonderful staff that I truly appreciate. My first couple months as a principal, I had surgery, and the staff I didn't have to worry about anything. Being a new principal, I was able to stay home and recover like I needed to without having to worry about anything at Bottenfield. So.
I can say, having been at Bottenfield as AP, under 2 other principals, and then having just Kendra Bonham, I can say I felt the culture shift. I was out last year for medical, came back, and it was just a different place. And so I know that if I felt it, I knew the babies were going to feel it. And one of the biggest pieces for me is having leadership, and honestly, having a progressive board, having a superintendent that will ride a scooter, just all these different pieces, it really speaks that Champaign is going in a new direction. I will say it, and I'll be unapologetic about it. But I mean, those are those different pieces, and it's just important for us to acknowledge those. And I love what I do again. So, all right.
All right, Dr. Taylor. Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening.
Now, wait. How can we best support you?
Continue to do what you all are doing. I'm not one to ask for help. There's been times that Dr. Taylor noticed we were struggling, and she came over on a Friday. She was like, "What are y'all doing?" Because we kept trying to get in the document. We meet once a month with her, but we meet whenever we feel the need, and it happened to be a Friday afternoon. So just keep doing what you all do.
Same for you all.
And we'll bring you a Coke. I know that's your drink. Joe's got coffee. And thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
You know what? I'm gonna do this. I appreciate you all. So you get a standing ovation from me. So thank you all.
We'll join her.